Imagine volunteering to be imprisoned in Auschwitz.
Yeah.
Walking into a Nazi death camp.
On purpose.
With your eyes wide open, knowing what awaits you.
It sounds like something out of a movie.
It sounds impossible.
Right. Like some kind of Greek tragedy, you know?
But that's exactly what Witold Pilecki, a Polish soldier, did during World War II.
Yeah, during the war.
It's a story that just has to be told.
It really does.
Pilecki wasn't just some soldier, though.
No.
He was a family man, an artist.
Yeah, he was.
A man who had already faced incredible hardships fighting for Poland in both world wars.
In both.
So we're talking about Europe in the early 20th century.
Yeah.
A continent just scarred by World War I.
Yeah.
Just bracing for another conflict.
Bracing.
And Poland,
yeah,
newly independent, caught between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union.
Right in the middle.
I mean, what a terrible spot to be in.
Yeah, a powder keg the whole continent was.
Yeah.
And Poland right in the middle.
So this is the backdrop against which Auschwitz emerges. This place shrouded in rumor and dread.
Mystery.
The Polish resistance knew something horrific was happening there.
Oh, they knew.
But they lacked concrete information.
They needed somebody on the inside.
Yeah, someone to tell them what was going on.
To report back.
So they needed someone to go in.
Yeah.
And this is where Pilecki steps in.
Unbelievable.
Volunteering for a mission that most would consider suicidal.
Suicidal.
It really speaks volumes about his courage.
Yeah.
His patriotism.
Yeah, and his sense of duty, I think, too.
Absolutely.
Like the weight of that.
You mean to willingly walk into a Nazi concentration camp.
You can't even imagine.
Like that level of self-sacrifice is almost beyond comprehension.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
To really understand it, we need to understand Pilecki's past.
Yeah, go back a little bit.
His story begins long before the gates of Auschwitz, you know.
Long before.
Yeah, so Pilecki's life was marked by service and resilience from a very young age.
Yeah. He was always in the thick of it.
Yeah. He was a teenager when he joined a clandestine Polish self-defense organization during World War I.
Wow.
He even participated in disarming German troops after the war.
I mean, just think about that.
Barely an adult.
Yeah.
Facing down armed soldiers.
Wow.
Then just a few years later, he's fighting against the Bolsheviks during the Polish-Soviet War.
So like right from the get-go.
Right from the get-go.
This is thrown into these huge conflicts.
Thrown in a conflict that would solidify his reputation as a skilled and courageous soldier.
And a leader.
Yeah, he gets promoted to corporal.
Right.
Which, you know, shows that he's got these leadership skills.
Absolutely.
And a commitment to defending his homeland.
Against any threat.
It's amazing.
It is.
And then after all that, after the war, he goes back to civilian life.
Yeah.
Gets married.
Starts a family.
Starts a family.
Settles down.
Even dabbles in poetry and painting.
Really?
You know, it's like he was searching for beauty.
Yeah.
In the face of all the turmoil he had seen.
Makes sense.
So this period of peace is such a contrast to the darkness that's to come.
Yeah, it really is.
It makes his decision to go into Auschwitz all the more remarkable.
I mean, he had a life.
He had a life. He understood what it meant to live.
A good life.
And yet he was willing to sacrifice it all.
It's unbelievable.
It's truly unbelievable. But, of course, this period of peace wouldn't last.
Sadly, no.
Hitler and the Nazi Party are on the rise.
Right.
The Polish Jews are being expelled from Germany.
It was all happening so fast.
The storm clouds are gathering again.
Yeah.
Europe's on the brink of war.
Again.
And Poland is right in the path of this Nazi war machine.
Like a steamroller.
Like a steamroller.
Yeah.
And when the Nazi invasion finally comes, Pilecki doesn't hesitate.
Of course not.
He immediately joins the Polish resistance.
Yeah, he's ready to fight.
Ready to fight for his country's freedom.
Amazing.
And it's during this period that the specter of Auschwitz really emerges.
Yeah, those whispers.
The whispers
start to get louder.
They grow louder, more urgent.
And somebody needed to know the truth.
Yeah, someone needed to uncover the truth about what was happening behind the barbed wire fences.
And bear witness.
And that's when Pilecki made his fateful decision.
Wow.
He deliberately allowed himself to be captured during a Nazi roundup in Warsaw.
No way.
He knew this would lead him to Auschwitz.
He knew.
And he went willingly carrying with him the hope that his sacrifice might save others.
Wow.
Imagine the fear, the uncertainty, the sheer terror.
Just not knowing.
Not knowing.
Yeah.
Crammed into that cattle car, headed towards the unknown.
It's hard to imagine.
It's a journey into the heart of darkness.
It really is.
And the train journey itself was a form of dehumanization.
Yeah.
Stripping away any sense of individuality or dignity.
Just another body.
Just a number.
Yeah.
And at the arrival at Auschwitz, the chaos, the shouting, the barking dogs, the overwhelming sense of dread.
It must have been terrifying.
Pilecki, along with countless others, was subjected to this horrific intake process.
Yeah.
The stripping, the shaving of heads, the branding with a number that replaced their name, their identity.
Just brutal.
Each step meticulously designed to break their spirit.
And crush this.
To crush them.
Yeah.
And the conditions inside the camp were designed to eradicate.
Yeah, they wanted to just
wipe them out.
Wipe
them out. The meager rations.
Yeah.
The constant threat of violence, the back-breaking labor, all intended to push people to their limits.
To extinguish any hope.
Any spark of hope.
Yeah.
But Pilecki endured these unimaginable hardships.
He did.
And he refused to let the darkness consume him.
He had a mission.
He had a mission.
Yeah.
To document the truth.
To bear witness.
To bear witness to the atrocities.
And just fight back.
And to find a way to fight back.
Wow.
He didn't just survive.
You organized.
He organized within the brutal confines of Auschwitz. He begins to build a resistance network.
A secret organization.
A clandestine organization.
Right under their noses.
Operating right under the noses of the Nazi guards. It's a testament to the human spirit.
It really
Our capacity for resilience.
to fight back.
For finding ways to resist, even in the face of unimaginable evil.
Yeah. How did he do it?
How did he do it?
What did that even look like?
We'll have to find out when we return.
Well, it wasn't like an armed rebellion or anything. That would have been impossible inside Auschwitz.
Yeah.
With all those guards and everything.
Of course.
But Pilecki, he focused on what he called improving the lives of his fellow inmates.
It's still amazing to me that even in that environment, he found ways to fight back.
Yeah.
But what did that look like?
So imagine this place.
Yeah.
Designed to just strip away every shred of humanity.
Yeah.
Pilecki and his network, they fought against that with small acts of defiance, acts of kindness,
Really?
and the sheer will to survive.
So it wasn't just about gathering intel.
No.
It was about keeping hope alive inside the camp.
Yeah, they provided emotional support,
Yeah.
shared what little food or clothing they could scrounge up, and they spread news from the outside world that was smuggled in by new prisoners.
So these little acts
Yeah, tiny little things.
were crucial for morale.
Oh, absolutely. They helped people hold on.
So they created a community
Yeah.
in a place that was meant to destroy community.
Exactly. They formed a secret organization called the Union of Military Organizations,
Well, yeah.
or ZOW.
ZOW.
Yeah, it was a structured network with different cells operating within the camp.
Wow. So organized.
Each assigned specific tasks like gathering information or boosting morale or even planning escapes.
You mentioned in the last part that Pilecki even built a radio transmitter.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
It seems impossible in such a heavily guarded environment.
It really does. I mean, think about the challenge.
Yeah.
Finding the materials, assembling the device in secret, and then finding a way to transmit without being detected.
By the SS?
By the SS, exactly.
So what kind of information was he sending out?
Well, his reports contain vital information about the camp's layout, the daily horrors, the number of prisoners arriving, and crucially, the existence of the gas chambers.
Wow.
These reports were smuggled out with escaped prisoners reaching the Polish resistance.
And eventually the Allied forces.
Yeah, and this is crucial.
Because it means Pilecki was one of the first to provide concrete evidence of the Nazis' extermination plans.
Of the genocide
Yeah.
was happening.
And his reports were some of the earliest first-hand accounts of the Holocaust to reach the West.
Yeah, shattering any illusions about the true nature of Auschwitz.
So did his reports have any impact?
That's a complicated question.
Okay.
I mean, the Allies were aware of the atrocities happening,
Right.
but the full scale of the Holocaust was difficult to grasp.
Yes.
Some argue that more could have been done,
Like what?
that the Allies should have bombed the railway lines leading to Auschwitz or the camp itself.
It's hard not to wonder if earlier intervention could have saved lives.
It's a heavy question.
Yeah.
And Pilecki himself grappled with this.
Really?
He eventually escaped from Auschwitz after 2.5 years,
Wow, 2.5 years.
convinced that the Allies weren't doing enough.
So what did he do?
He wanted the Polish resistance to launch an attack on the camp to liberate the prisoners,
Wow.
but it was deemed too risky.
Imagine knowing what was happening.
Inside those walls.
Yeah.
And feeling powerless to stop it.
It's heartbreaking.
It is, but he never gave up.
Of course not.
He continued to fight for his country, participating in the Warsaw Uprising against the Nazi occupation.
So he kept fighting.
He was driven by an unwavering sense of duty.
And a belief that even in the darkest of times, one must resist.
Exactly. But as we mentioned before, His story takes a tragic turn after the war.
Yeah, after surviving the Nazis in Auschwitz.
He gets arrested by the new communist regime in Poland.
What?
Yeah, they saw him as a threat, someone who knew too much.
Someone they couldn't silence.
Exactly, and he was subjected to a show trial accused of being a Western spy.
It's a cruel twist of fate.
It really is this hero who fought for his country's freedom only to be betrayed by the very people who claimed to be liberating Poland.
It's awful.
And he was executed in 1948, his story suppressed for decades, his heroism erased from official accounts.
Wow. It's chilling to think about.
It's a reminder that even in victory, the fight for freedom can be a lonely and dangerous path.
And Pilecki's story really mirrors the turbulent history of Poland itself.
It does, doesn't it?
A nation caught between powerful forces, constantly fighting for its existence, its identity.
You said it.
So Pilecki's story isn't just about individual courage.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of the struggle for freedom, for truth, and for recognition.
Exactly. And it raises so many questions about the nature of courage.
Yeah.
The complexities of war.
And the responsibility to remember and learn from the past.
We'll explore those questions when we come back.
Pilecki's legacy is
Incredible.
incredibly face down. Nazis endured Auschwitz,
Built a resistance
built a resistance network,
right under their noses.
and then he's betrayed by his own government.
Yeah,
It's a lot to process.
it's a story that really speaks to the complexities of history, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And the enduring struggle for freedom.
And the sacrifices people make.
Yeah, the unsung heroes.
Yeah, the ones who stand against tyranny.
Exactly.
So Pilecki's story was buried for decades.
By the communist regime.
But eventually the truth came out.
It always does.
How did that happen?
Well, after the fall of communism in Poland, Pilecki's story, it started to reemerge.
Yeah.
Documents where declassified witnesses came forward.
Yeah.
Historians, they started to put the pieces together.
Like a historical detective story.
It really was.
Wow.
And as more information came to light, the world began to recognize Pilecki for the hero he was.
Yeah.
He was posthumously awarded Poland's highest military honor.
Wow.
Monuments and memorials were erected in his name.
It's amazing how powerful the truth is.
It is.
And how important it is to remember these people,
Those who fought for freedom.
even when their voices were silenced.
Exactly. Their stories deserve to be heard.
So Pilecki's story reminds us that history is more than just dates and facts.
It's about people.
It's about people.
Real people who made incredible choices.
Yeah, and what about the human spirit?
No, it's unbreakable.
I mean, even in the face of unimaginable evil,
It finds a way
it finds a way
to resist.
to hope to be resilient.
Pilecki could have stayed silent,
Blended in.
tried to survive.
But he didn't.
He chose to fight back,
To resist, to bear witness.
knowing the risks.
It's incredible.
He was a beacon of light.
In a world of darkness.
Yeah, he was.
What do you think Pilecki would want us to take away from his story?
I think he'd want us to remember that freedom isn't free.
It's got to be descended.
You have to fight for it.
And that indifference is the enemy of justice.
Silence is complicity.
Wow.
He'd tell us to be vigilant.
To recognize the warning sign.
And tyranny
And to resist.
attempts to erode our values.
To suppress dissent.
To rewrite history.
The fight for freedom is never truly over.
It's a fight for every generation.
That demands courage, resilience, a commitment to truth.
He showed us the way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Witold Pilecki's life,
His remarkable life.
let's remember his message. Never give up hope. Never stop fighting for what's right, and always be a light in the darkness.
Be the light.
And to everyone listening, I encourage you to learn more about Pilecki's story about the Polish resistance and think about what it means for us today, because remembering the past,
Is a call to action?
it is.
It's up to all of us to shape a better future.
Thanks for listening.